Hey everybody, it's Grant, and today, while going through all of the Graham Stephan and Dave Ramsey Clash of the Knowledge, I found another video that Graham's thumbnails are always good. Let's see if this video is trash. Yeah, because it says trash.
What's up, guys? It's Graham here. So this is certainly not a video that I wanted to make, but as somebody who's been in the real estate industry for 14 years, it's only a matter of time until eventually you come across a situation like this. So I'm going to walk you through one of my properties that was recently left in complete disrepair, and then I will explain where I went wrong, what I could have done better, and how you can make sure you never find yourself in a similar situation.
Sounds like a solid video for what we do here on the channel, because when it comes to my mainstream content, my main educational content, it all revolves around this: renting to the right person, how to actually get those properties rented, how to build those properties, how to make those properties profitable, how to actually get construction costs down, how to figure out how to make sure things work in the design. All that stuff's great. This part, how to actually run the business, is other things, like how to get these properties back on the market and back on the market fast to get that cash flow, that sweet cash flow back in your pocket.
But
Nasty,
yeah, wow. Yikes. Is there any electricity, please? All right, so we got no
Slow it
electricity
down, Graham.
here, but as you can see, wow. There is just so much stuff everywhere. I'm probably gonna have to turn on the light. Here's the living room. As you can see, these are the floors that were installed about 10 years ago.
But in all realness, this is like the same tenant that lived there for like 10 years. Because Graham has had, I don't know if it's a California thing, but Graham has had really good luck with just long-term tenants. I have a few, and I appreciate them. Some of them still don't pay all the way on time, but I give them a little bit more leeway if I can, within reason, an extra couple days. But Graham's got them living there for like 15 years. So if you got to get an extra deep clean going after 15 years of this thing being rented, I'm okay with it.
And they actually look to be in okay condition, pretty dirty. The walls, though, what happened? I don't know. Look, they have a whole bunch of these just completely stuck in the wall.
And by the way, you might think your landlord's picky. What the hell? Whenever you have thumbtacks all over the place or LED rope lighting everywhere, it sticks to the wall, it sticks in the wall, and that has to be repaired. You can't have a wall looking like Swiss cheese, even if the holes are small. So yes, find out what your landlord allows you to put on the walls if you plan on living there for 1 year or 20 years. And that way, when you move out and you're finally done with the property, go get your own place or whatever, move on to the next, you don't have to lose your security deposit because you took care of stuff. For instance, this room, I got stuff stuck all over the walls. By the time I rip it all off, it's going to tear up the walls tremendously. My landlord's going to be so mad. It's me. I own the house, but still.
This is a property that I purchased back in 2012 as a bank-owned short sale after saving up my commissions for 4 years as a real estate agent. Back then, nearly a third of all homeowners were underwater on their mortgage, and this was no exception. The seller had purchased it at the peak of the market in 2005 for $230,000, only to sell it 7 years later for about $70,000. Now, when I bought it, even though the bones of the house were fantastic, it wasn't exactly turnkey, so I spent every last penny I had remodeling it, fixing it up, redoing the floors, repainting the interior, fixing the landscape, and then I rented it out, and that very same tenant was here for 10 years. But all of this was not the result of normal wear and tear. All right, going in with
Once again, they rented it for 10 years. Yes, you're going to have to absolutely charge them to repaint the walls, fix the sheetrock, do those kinds of things, especially if people have kids. Like, that's going to happen. This is a good video, especially for you that are thinking about getting into real estate. Because, honestly, this video shows you what a okay afterwards situation is when there's damage. So think about it like that. If there's going to be damage or if it's going to be perfect, perfect's always great. If it's just dirty, you got to throw things away. That's awesome. That's 10 years worth of wear when somebody's bumping into doors, hitting things, knocking the door into the wall. So that's going to happen, but they still will be charged for it. So understand, that's why, learn from videos like this, learn from a successful landlord, so that way you don't let them all just do that. And then you have a whole house you have to just spend thousands and thousands of dollars on versus paint, right? So keep that in mind.
Oh, jeez. As you could see here, I mean, they just left everything behind. There's
food, just an entire wardrobe of stuff.
Now, before we finish up the rest of the tour, admittedly, I was likely too easygoing as a landlord. I mean, after 10 years, I considered the tenant to be a friend. We were on fantastic terms, and I would have done anything I could to help him.
You've been mortgage for 10 years? You're my friend. I'm good with you. However, I'm a strict friend because you're still living in my place. Don't break it.
I've even mentioned before that I've never once raised rent on this property, despite the market rate today being almost double from what I was originally charging. But I just thought to myself, I've never had a single issue. I rarely ever have a vacancy across my entire portfolio. It's easy to manage.
Told you. He's so fortunate with that.
Myself, and hey, if they move out in the future, I could re-rent it back at market rate, and then everything will be good.
How do they have this much stuff? Okay, let's see how the bedrooms are doing. I'm gonna close that. Let's walk through. Okay, so we got a whole bunch of cans. What about through here? Okay. Yeah, look, there's stuff in every single one of the cabinets. Let's see what's below here. Oh, wow.
Yeah, they did roll out as if it was like The Purge.
Oh my gosh, even the pots and pans.
Might be able to bring that to your house. Oh, pennies.
All right, now let's see the bedrooms. I wish we had some electricity just to get an idea. So we got a closet.
So two things, okay? I know I'm going to stop this video a lot, but I consider myself an expert in real estate at this point. There's still things I could learn, but hey, if you're able to buy a property and it's worth almost $1 million more, you're getting pretty good at this. If you're able to run these things with yourself, you're getting pretty good at this. If you're able to run these things now because you wanted to take a step back to an extent and still be just as involved, but have some more help to where you're not just always the guy that has to do it, and hire an assistant, and then be able to freaking do this thing like nobody's business, which we're still getting there. We're not back to 100% rented. That's how I always had it, but Brett is still learning. Here's the thing. We also have something where when the power goes off, it gets put into our name, and that way the power comes back on the day that it changes over. They just change it over to us, and there we go. So that's something. So that way when you're showing the property, you have lights. Whenever you go in there at the property, you can find all the damage because the lights can be turned on. You can know how many light bulbs are out. So that way you don't go send the cleaning crew with a flashlight or a spotlight and they miss stuff. You have to be able to pay certain little opportunity cost or cost of doing business to make sure that happens. Kind of like how restaurants used to charge you their 3% credit card processing, and then somebody started to do it. Now we all have to pay an extra 3% for our meal. Yeah, but God forbid the person just takes that out of their profit and messes with the menu a little bit. But I get it. There's just things that happen. I try to charge a pretty hefty cleaning deposit, okay? That way my tenant knows that your security deposit is this, but there is a cleaning deposit. So if you do not clean your apartment, and because you gotta realize, it's not just a little bit of dirt and grime. There's somebody that's got to go haul a dumpster. And this house probably deserves a dumpster or at least a small one. So when you're throwing it all back there or you're going to put it in the back of your truck and go borrow somebody's dumpster, like understand, hey man, can I use your dumpster? That's a lot, right? And so by having to put in that extra effort, you're going to have to pay somebody more money. And so I think no matter how bad the units are, cleanliness-wise, I need to be able to spend like $300 to $500 on it. So I charge $300. But if I get burned 4 or 5 times, I'm going to up that to $500. And then I might even tier it, where if you get an A or a C, boom. And if you get an F, it just lose your entire security deposit. Like something like that. I'll have to find out legal on that because I'm thinking out loud and creating a new process. But this, all day long, I would send Miss Barbara and Brett. I'd pay them the $300. Miss Barbara would take 2. Brett would take 100. He'd haul all the trash off. Miss Barbara would clean it enough for the handyman to get up in there and fix it, right? Get all the nastiness out there, get like a clean, and then she'd go back and touch it all up, get all the dust away from all the sheetrock work, clean it, deep clean it, and then boom, for $300, that's what it'd be. But some people might not do it for less than $700-800. So stuff's expensive, even just the cleanliness of an apartment, right? And you can't rent it looking like trash. So
it's always ideal to budget for the worst, but plan for the best. And this is an example of doing exactly that.
So just for some context, I'll throw up some pictures of what it used to look like before. And you know what? I mean, it comes with the territory.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I had absolutely no idea.
They still left a lot of useful stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm going to put all those pots, I'm going to put them all together, get them all cleaned up. Miss Barbara would do that. I'd also let her take some things that she wants, right? So Miss Barbara will be like, hey, this pot's really nice. Grant, don't give it to me. Sell this one. But these other ones, like, probably $150 worth of pots. Could I have them? you know, Miss Barbara, you take good care of me, absolutely. And that's a cool trade for us as well. I'm not going to wear the clothing, but somebody would. So get it, throw it in the washing machine, get it all cleaned up, unless it's covered in something that you might not want in your washing machine. Get it all cleaned up, and then just put it as a package or go donate it. I wouldn't probably wash it if I was going to donate it. I'd let them do their job. But there's just other things you can do if it's in good condition, right? And those clothes were hanging up. So I'm just thinking of hanging up clothes, not the ones caked on the ground that, you know, were nasty.
The property was reduced to this condition. Thankfully, the floors look okay. I don't know what this stuff is, though. Is this gonna come off?
It will, but it's still
it's
nasty.
baked on there. Yeah, see, I have absolutely no idea what that is. But hopefully this will be able to clean up. Look at the grout, by the way. This grout used to be white, and now it looks black.
It's nasty.
What's that wire? I'm wondering if they removed maybe a smoke detector without me knowing. Wow. Yeah, look. It looks like they've taken down the smoke detectors.
I mean, you are in California, Graham. They look
Now,
great.
in terms of how much this is going to cost to fix, I'm guessing a few $1,000s for trash removal, a few $1,000s for paint, another few $1,000s making sure everything is in working order, a few $1,000s in lost rent, and then I'm selling it. This is something that I've wanted to do since the beginning of the year, but given the circumstances, I haven't been able to list it as quickly as I would have liked. But now that
And this is one more point to you that, you know, with Graham, he's not as hands-on. He has property managers that do these things now, from what he's told us on the channel and what he's told me in person. And so, you know, if I am the property manager, I'm going to make sure I am nickel and diming everything while still making sure I'm using insured labor, okay? When you get to Graham's level, insured labor matters because if somebody falls, you need their insurance to be the one that takes care of them, not you. And if your insurance is one that comes into question, you need your insurance to be top-notch to where they don't actually be able to come after you. That's also where you need to come into where they're not personal named things anymore. But to get a 30-year mortgage, you have to be. But in order to do it, you either have a big umbrella policy, which I'm sure he does, and I think he said he has many, many times, or you have them in LLCs with insurable policies to that LLC, and then there you go, right? We insure those properties and everything the LLC owns, and it works out. So the big point to this is just he's kind of just overpaying for trash removal, overpaying, and he's just estimating because he's just getting rid of it to sell it. But if it was me, I wouldn't spend $2,000 or a couple $1,000s removing trash. It would cost me literally $300, and I would wash it up and sell it on Facebook. If it doesn't sell for a week, I'm donating it or giving it to somebody that could use it.
that I could get this fixed back up, I
Still
think
don't
it's
need it.
time to let it go. The fact is,
I don't
since
agree.
I no longer live in California, it's begun to make a lot more sense to sell off a few of those first few properties and then move that into something else. Perhaps it'll be in Las Vegas, maybe it'll be a commercial rental property, or maybe it'll go back into index funds. But I gotta say, even with a management company, owning a rental property is not truly passive income, and it requires a consistent amount of work if you're expected to be successful at it. So in terms of what you could do to avoid something like this happening, here's my advice.
Oh, wow. All right, this is probably the worst of it.
This is what I'm concerned about. Graham has moved away from being the real estate guy after creating or helping create a wave of real estate hungry people. So, and I get it. You don't watch real estate content unless you're really into it. But I really think for his highly educated audience, not the young people that are worried about credit cards or that kind of thing, people like myself, I watch Graham. When he makes a real estate video, I am watching it like a hawk, and I love it. And then, even though you get less volume, there's still a really good person to keep on your channel. By selling your properties, man, it's kind of like Gary, King Pokemon, selling his Charizards, right? It's just, it's part of your identity. And, you know, like him switching to energy drinks versus iced coffee. It's just different, right? I just think that's a mistake, and I'm going to tell him that when I see him in Vegas again. And I really hope that that it all works out for him. I know it will, but still, like, buy some commercial stuff. Show people how to create wealth in bigger volumes. But that still less people are going to watch it.
Wow, so they ended up leaving a lot of items over here as well. I see a refrigerator on this one side. I see a couch at the very back of the backyard. I also see what looks to be a washer or a dryer just over here. Some kids' toys. I have no idea what all of this is.
All right, now in terms of how you could avoid this happening to you, first, I think a lot of people paint homeownership as a fast way to make a lot of money. And don't get the wrong idea, because it can be quite profitable, but it comes with the risk that something can happen. That's why it's so important to always have a home emergency fund equal to 3 to 6 months worth of your home's expenses at all times.
And have things built into the lease that actually cause the renter some pain, so they have some discipline when they move out. Cleaning deposits. Absolutely. I even have how much it costs per wall if you damage it. So a wall over a certain amount of feet is like $350, right? So if there's one big old hole in the wall, that whole wall has to be repainted. You can't just paint right here, then you have this shiny spot in the center. Doesn't make sense. So just keep in mind those things, because you don't want your house to look like a shiny cheetah, right? With a bunch of painted pots, painted spots. I'm going to leave that in there.
That way, you're not coming out of pocket for any damage, lost rent, or anything else that comes your way. Second, understand that it's going to take work. I've been in a position where I both managed properties myself and hired a property manager. And even with the property manager, there are still issues that come up every now and then where I need to be involved. It's not a huge deal, but it's also not a business where you could just hire things out and then sail off into the sunset doing nothing for the rest of your life ever again. And finally, third, with higher returns usually comes higher risk. Admittedly, I was not charging anywhere near the amount that I should have. And even though it's okay to accept below market rent for the sake of finding a great quality long-term tenant, it's still a business, and there needs to be
And then also, that quality of a tenant, as far as paying you, was great. Where we lost the quality of tenant is who they are as people, because they were more dirty, okay? When it comes down to it, you got to find that person that makes that good income, that has that nice family, that's going to take care of what you have and pay you, which is, it's tough. It's so tough. I got people that make $100,000 a year that still try not to pay their rent. Like, I don't understand what's wrong with you, okay? But it just is what, I also have people that want to move every year. No. I'm finally building a house that I'm staying in for like 10, 15 years. Unless something crazy happens, I'm staying there until I build something that's really cool to move into.
a middle ground between being able to treat people generously but still being able to run it like a business. But it's a lesson that I could carry forward, and I'm able to talk about all sides of real estate here. So if you're not already subscribed, now is a pretty good time to do that. Again, I say all of this to show you the reality that investing in real estate isn't always rainbows and sunshine. I think it's easy for people to get carried away talking about all the positives of building wealth without addressing that situations like this do happen, and that needs to be accounted for. Of course, don't take this the wrong way, because I wouldn't be here today if it were not for real estate. It's how I got my entire start, and sometimes it just comes with the territory. But I've always done my best to show all sides of the equation, whether it be a renovation that goes way over budget, a property that doubles in value, or a duplex where I haven't had a single issue. So hopefully this gives you a better understanding of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Real estate's the only business you could put 3.5 to 20% down, and then you have $100,000 worth of equity off of that small investment to this property. Stocks, you want $100,000 worth of stocks, you can't put 3 to 5% down or 20% down to get it. You have to put 100% down to buy that in stocks. Real estate is a beautiful business using leverage as long as you control yourself. If you can't, go the Dave Ramsey method. But if you can control yourself, do it this way. All that being said, I hope you have a fantastic afternoon. I believe in you. See you later.